this video, I am going to show the value of Groschen in real life. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, Groschen is the currency. You use it to buy weapons, armor, food, build a village, and other things. Groschen is based on a real currency used in Bohemia at the time the game is set, so I looked it up. There were actually different versions of Groschen since it was used across Europe. The one most likely used in the game is the Kuttenberg Groschen. In the late Middle Ages, the Kuttenberg Groschen was a silver coin used in Bohemia. It was introduced in early 1300s by King Wenceslaus II and made in Kuttenberg, a town famous for its silver mines.
The Kuttenberg Groschen weighs about 3.24 grams of pure silver. Right now, silver is worth around 83 pence per gram. That means a single groschen would be worth roughly £2.69. Now let's look at an example. In the game, St. Michael's sword costs 1,800 groschen. Based on our conversion, that will be around £4,842, which is actually quite expensive. But that is comparing today's money to its historical values. What we really need to do is to compare the groschen in the game with real-life money to get a better understanding. To bridge the gap, I decided to use a method called the basket of goods approach. Simply put, it is a way to compare how much different currencies can buy. For example, £1 is roughly $1.24 in the trading market. But that does not mean £1 will always buy the same as $1.24. If 1 dozen of eggs cost £2 in the United Kingdom, but $4 in the United States, this means that in terms of buying eggs, £1 is actually more powerful than $1.24. To compare the groschens to real-world currency, I needed to use the same approach, comparing the price of several goods with similar usage in both society. And since I live in the UK, I will be comparing groschens to pounds sterling. Now on to choosing the goods to compare. Armor and weapons will not work well for this. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, they were actually essentials for soldiers, but now they are mostly just collectibles. The best way to compare money is through everyday basics, things people actually buy all the time. Food is great for this since everyone needs it and its price shows the true cost of living. That is why I pick food to get the most accurate comparison. While replaying KCD before the second game was released, I made it my mission to gather prices. So I went to every town, checked every trader and grocer, and wrote down their prices. It felt like for once Henry was on actual secret mission.
Look, I'll tell you the truth, but you mustn't tell anyone. The Lord of Rat-Eye sent me on a secret mission. And to do it, I have to bend the law a little now and again. Understand?
Then I gathered the prices in the UK, making sure to match quantities as closely as possible. For example, in the game, a carrot is shown as a single item. So I compared it to 1 carrot in the UK. I checked prices from several supermarkets and count the average price. If you want to see all the prices side by side, here is a breakdown of the costs in groschens and their UK equivalents. What we really need to do now is to simply count the value of groschens in pound sterling today. To do that, I will use the methods I've explained to you earlier. So let's start with the average price of a carrot in KCD, which is around 0.97 groschen, while in the UK it is about 11 pence or 0.105 pound. So, based on that, 1 groschen is roughly worth 11 pence in terms of buying carrots. When we want to create a more generalized exchange rate, what we need to do is simply count the average of all the goods we have noted. Now before I tell you the result, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing for more. And now, the moment of truth. Based on my calculation, £1 is about 4.39 groschen. Now let us compare prices to see if they actually make sense. The Magdeburg Cuirass costs around 2,447 groschen in KCD, which is about £557. This is actually fairly reasonable if you compare it to a standard UK Army body armor, which costs around £500. Now let's see Pribyslavitz. Pribyslavitz costs around 100,000 groschens to build, which is about £25,000. That seems very cheap until you consider that the most expensive part of real estate is usually land acquisition, and the land of Pribyslavitz is already owned by Tifish. Sir Tifish. Then it kinda makes sense. The method is not perfect, but it's better than just guessing. Now you finally have an idea just how rich you really are after all those Groschens you have gained honestly, of course.
Damn, a thief! He's stealing here!
So in the end, figuring out Henry's real-world wealth is quite tricky, but this gives us a rough idea. Whether you are buying armor, weapons, or even rebuilding a whole village, it is interesting to see how the Groschen compares to modern money. Now, if only there's a way we could trade in all those Groschens for a real cash.